Yeah, I got Jake the Snake dancing with me here. Put the arm down.
Right. Nice.
You got it, brother.
Snake.
All right. Hey, Dr. Chris.
Yeah, man, what's going on? Let me get the proper.
I don't hear you, Dr. Chris. I can see you.
You just heard me, didn't you? Check.
Are you there?
Check.
Can you hear me? We
Yeah.
were just chatting and everything was fine.
Yeah, it was.
I can't hear a word you're saying. Da, 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 da. And I had Jake the Snake dancing with me, and I don't know why I can't hear you. Very, very weird. There you are. Try it now. Can you hear me?
Check.
Can you hear me? I can't hear a thing you're saying, and my speakers are all up and on. Very unusual.
Yeah, it is.
Not unusual to be. Jake the Snake may have broken our show here.
Check. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Why don't I try this? Why don't I back out of here and click back in? Okay. You said you can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
Very good at following directions, by the way. I'll try the same. Hang on. Let me just make sure my microphone is on. Yes, it is. And my speakers are on. Hold on. I may have found the culprit. The culprit. Meantime, Dr. Chris, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
One top, is my video okay?
No, it's freezing now.
You see me fine?
It's freezing now.
You can see, I can't hear you, so I'm glad. I don't know what you're saying. Okay, hang on a minute. I'm going to my speaker settings. My speaker's all the way up.
Okay.
Hold on. Media player, manage device. It says my device is fine.
Can y'all hear me?
Bluetooth
audience?
is on. Although sometimes people think it's yellow, not blue. But no, I can't hear a thing you're saying, unfortunately. Ladies and gentlemen, I totally apologize. You can hear both of us. Well, that's great. That's great. So I'm going to watch Dr. Chris's mouth. So I've never done a show. First of all, if somebody can post an answer for me for this question that has nothing to do with pro wrestling. One of my favorite TV shows of all time that I watch regularly is the 3-hour block of the FBI. Dr. Chris, do you watch that sometimes?
No.
You don't? Okay. So any of the fans out there that watch it, here's my question. The girl is working for the FBI undercover, right? And the bad guy's 2 feet away from her, right? She's got a gimmick in her ear with the other FBI people are talking to her. How come the bad guys can't hear this? Okay. While I go and reset and come in again, let's see what you guys come up with. I will be right back after coming in again. And don't know why I can't hear Dr. Chris.
I don't know. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of UnSKripted. It is Tuesday night. You know what that means. I'm going to give me a drink of water as Bill Apter is logging off and logging back on. So my Bill Ross, my Bob Ross, I need to turn him over. But I do therapy on my other side, and then my clients look at Bob Ross, and it makes them a lot happier. And a lot of people know who Bob Ross is too, that I'm giving therapy to. Some really good art therapy. So, all right, let's see if Bill Apter works this time. Can you hear me, Bill?
All right, I can stop yelling. I can hear you fine.
I said, can you hear me, Bill? That's
Did anybody answer my FBI question?
No. Roland doesn't watch FBI.
Nobody?
Never saw good FBI. No.
Unbelievable. Okay, well let me tell you what's on my mind, Dr. Chris. Okay, Monday Night Raw, spectacular segment. One of the most interesting segments that I have been transfixed to the TV. And I was texting a moment ago with Mr. Raju Dasgupta, the official content manager here at Sportskeeda. And I was good. He doesn't watch the FBI either. He's a living dead guy. But anyway, one of the things that drew me in, and I couldn't get enough of it, both visually, conceptually, and verbally. What are you checking?
Check.
Are you still there?
Yep. I'm still. Yes.
I can hear you.
Check.
Fine.
You hear me fine?
I love this tech. It's getting lost here again. Are you back? You back, Dr. Chris? We lost you for a minute. Okay, yes. We lost you for a minute. So anyway, one of the most compelling things I've seen in all of Monday Night Raw in a long time is the man, Becky Lynch, and the mommy, Rhea Ripley, circling around and around each other as they chatted and finally wound up face to face in very compelling and very convincing chat. It made me want to see it go on for a little bit longer. And it made me want to say, yes, Becky Lynch has got to win the Royal Rumble and get that match at WrestleMania against Rhea Ripley. I think right now, everybody, after that promo, I'm not going to even call it a promo, that excellent segment, I think everybody will agree with me, and I don't know about you, Dr. Chris, that match right now has what we used to call in the boxing industry fight fever.
All right.
What do you think?
I do think that we'll see Becky and Rhea at WrestleMania. I think that's something that's been planned. I think there's been seeds planted with that for a while now, actually. I think that's yeah, I mean, they had a face-off last year, you know what I mean? So I think that's plants the seeds for that. That's been going on for a while. So I do think we'll see Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania. I do think that's a money match. I do think that that's an opportunity for Becky to win the championship again. She hasn't been champion. She lost to Bianca Belair. No, wait a minute. She hasn't been champion since when? Yeah,
a long time. And she also was pinned by. She was also pinned by Nia Jax 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
right. Which doesn't make sense to me of why she's in the title hunt. But she, I think, as far as I remember, she lost to Bianca Belair SummerSlam of 2022, because that's when Damage Control came after the match and debuted. So that's the last time she's had a world championship. So it's been a while. I mean, it's time for Becky to be. I mean, she had an NXT championship, but I mean, I really don't count that as a world.
No, what I'm asking is, did you see the face-to-face with the two of them, and if so, what did you? Of
course, I did, Bill. I have to see it because of I get paid.
Well, what did you think about it?
It was okay.
Just okay.
It didn't wow me. No, it didn't wow me. No.
We have.
I was trying to say something positive. Actually, I was trying to put Becky Lynch over because I was saying that I think it's time for her to win. I mean, not necessarily time for her to win, but I think it's it's been a while, so I think her winning the title is fine. I'm fine with that.
I mean, I'm not even looking at who's going to win the title. I'm looking at that their performance on Monday Night Raw to me was just no matter what else was on that show, it took second place to this performance. I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be on the high level that it actually was.
Yeah, I don't even think it was that good.
Why not?
Because one, Rhea Ripley, she flubbed her lines. She forgot her lines. Let's start off there. And then Becky Lynch came out, and Becky Lynch is, I mean, she's hit or miss with promos. The production was bad because we kept seeing the back of Becky Lynch's, you could tell Kevin Dunn isn't there. Vince and I was talking about this on the Raw show. You can tell Kevin Dunn isn't there anymore because those shots were just not good. I didn't mind the walk. I didn't mind the walk around. Like I didn't mind that. That was something different. I didn't mind that. But it didn't wow me. It was just, and it just kind of fell flat at the end.
See, I'm looking at it from the fan perspective in me. It took me in, it took me over. Not from a critical point of view, from a fan point of view.
Well, I'm a fan. Fans can be critical too.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Yeah. But I think sometimes people look a little too deep into something like that after something that's really good. But that's my opinion.
Or they can just not like it. I mean, you asked me how I thought about it. I didn't think it was that good.
Okay. What did Russo think about it? I didn't see last night's show.
I don't think he liked it either. But yeah, I think we agreed on that. I don't think we both thought it was very good. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Rhea, she flubbed her lines. That kind of disconnected me away from the
but
segment.
Who knew that? Who really knew that?
It was pretty evident. I mean, it's pretty. You could tell. I mean, I'm a psychologist, and so I look at. I
know.
I look at facials, and you could tell she was just lost like a deer in headlights. From she came in. She leaned on the ropes. She was just lost. It was like 7 seconds of eternity. Like it was. No, they didn't cheer during that time. It was like quiet. And she was trying to find her lines and stuff
they cheered her when she came out.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when she forgot her lines. And so when she was talking, and Rhea Ripley, I think that she is amazing. I mean, I think this. I like Rhea. She's fantastic. She's just a league of her own. But I mean, she definitely needs some work on the promo for sure. And I think that's forgetting her lines and flubbing her lines. Well, to me, it just shows that people like Rhea Ripley, I think people just across the board, I mean, they don't need lines. Why do you need lines? I mean, you're old school. You know who wrote lines? You know, back.
Well, did they write lines? Did they write lines for her? Or did they say this is what we want you to talk about? Like in the old school, we're not at the meetings, but I don't know if they gave her a script that she had to say word for word. But again, the way I watched it last night, they drew me in with the circling first. And that spot that you were talking about with her on the ropes, I wondered for a minute what she's doing. It looked like she was talking directly to a fan there in Little Rock. I didn't get that, but then the
she forgot her lines. That's why.
I don't know.
Rollin 999. Didn't Mr. Apter notice that Rhea Ripley forgot her lines in her promo? The silence was deafening. I agree. Becky Lynch said that both she and Rhea Ripley were the face of the WWE. Do you guys agree? Oh, that's a good question.
The female faces of the WWE, I think. Right now, I mean, I think, Rhea Ripley's got kind of that, Chris, Dr. Chris, you and I always talk about if the baby face is cheered, they're not doing their job.
The heels are cheered.
Yeah, heels. That's what I meant. And yet Rhea Ripley, when she came out, was cheered, but they started booing her when she went face to face with Rhea Ripley. So it was very interesting because I thought of you during that period of time. But I think right now that Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch are the face of the women's division at this point. Do you agree?
I think Rhea is. I don't see Becky. No, I don't think.
I think she's on her way back there. Well, who would be the second? Who would be the second?
That's the issue. There's none. I mean, I would say Bianca Belair is more of a face of WWE over the past 3 years than Becky Lynch has been.
Do you think both Bianca currently is getting over as hot as she was last time?
I think her stock has drastically plummeted.
Why?
Yeah. Because she's not booked in any stories. I mean, there's no stories with Bianca. There's nothing for someone to sink their teeth in when it comes to really any of the females. There's no stories. I mean, that's what I don't understand when it comes to pro wrestling. That's what bothers me about pro wrestling so much is that it's just action, and stories. You don't give a lot of times. I mean, pro wrestling as a whole, they don't give us room to breathe. That's anything. Like when you're having theater and when you're having cinema, you have to give the audience room to breathe. You have to make the crescendos matter, even with music. I mean, like you have to make the crescendos matter. You're taking us through a journey when it comes to music, cinema, theater, entertainment, like all of that. The problem with pro wrestling nowadays is that it's just action. And it's like, where is the story arc? Where's the narrative? How are you drawing us in for that boom moment for us to get in?
Well, are you making this a blanket statement? Because usually the first few minutes of Raw, SmackDown, and sometimes AEW are setups of a story that takes place later that night.
No, I'm talking about story arcs. I'm just talking about like storylines, like like angles. Pro wrestling as a whole, is just bad at that. I mean, I've been watching wrestling since the mid '80s, and even in that frame of time, I've seen it over the past nearly 40 years now change drastically, and I think just I miss I miss what brought wrestling to the dance, as far as just what caused professional wrestling to have more of a less of a local, kind of circus type of, feel to continue to span us, because it was cinematic, when it came to story arcs and storylines. That was fun. That was exciting. And
I see some of it and I see a lack of some of it. I don't look at it under one big blanket that way. It depends, where you're going with what story. They're trying to do stories, but the thing is, the fans generally may not be biting into that apple.
What stories are they doing that's very riveting?
Well, if we're talking about, of course, the whole Roman Reigns situation, the Royal Rumble. I mean, there are stories there. Now, next week, Cody and CM Punk are going to meet face to face. They haven't since CM Punk.
But what's the storylines? What are big storylines going on?
Well, the big storylines is who's going to win the Royal Rumble and possibly.
That's not a storyline.
Why? Of course it is.
That's a match. That's not a storyline.
No, it's a storyline going.
Storylines going on.
It's a storyline going toward the Royal Rumble. You have to build stories going into the Royal Rumble. Let's say R-Truth is going into the Royal Rumble, which he probably will. And there's the story that is he going to throw out Damian Priest? Is
That's
he going
a terrible story.
In your opinion, but what I'm saying, it's a story. Whether it's terrible or medium or good, it's still a story.
Okay, so your answer to my question is the current stories are R-Truth and the winner of the Royal Rumble.
I'm just giving you examples of an
I'm
example.
asking you. So you're saying that the current stories are R-Truth and the winner of the Royal Rumble. Those are the current stories.
Well,
right?
and also Seth Rollins, who's going to try and take his title.
Yeah, but that's not the story. What's the storyline? What's an angle going on? What are riveting angles currently?
Well, the riveting angle is who's going to beat him for the championship. That's a riveting angle. For the fan, for that 15-year-old fan that I talk to all the time, that's my God.
That's not an angle though. Like when it comes to an angle, there's a feud, there's a rivalry going on. There's a story arc that's building around a rivalry. Again, going back to comic, that's not saying who's gonna. That's like saying who's gonna be the villain of Batman. That's not a story. The story is Batman and Joker, like Batman versus Joker, Batman versus Two-Face. Like that's a story. There's already
well, they had them for years.
There's already a villain there. There's already a villain there, and there's an angle and a story arc and a narrative going to the peak, which is usually the duel. So what I'm asking you is what current storylines based on feuds that are riveting. So say for instance, if this was a year and a half ago, if you would have said the Bloodline, that would have been a perfect, answer. The Bloodline, I like the Bloodline storyline. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. But what current stories do the WWE has? I didn't even say WWE. I said pro wrestling as a whole.
They're all going toward the Rumble. Right now, it's all the mini stories.
Okay, what feud do they have right now that is riveting? What feud is going on currently?
Well, the four-way match for the three-way match for the Roman Reigns title. That's a story. What's going to happen with AJ Styles and LA Knight? They're building that story very cleverly and very slowly.
Okay,
that's a story inside an angle.
Okay.
So what do you fans think? Meantime, we're almost out of time, and I had so much more to talk about. What do you think about the bomb that was dropped? The bomb that was dropped that Sting's final match could be he and Darby Allin against the Young Bucks. We were talking on Time Machine when we taped it earlier this evening, and both Teddy Long and Mac Davis were like, why this? Why not like Sting against Chris Jericho? And I said, well, the Young Bucks, brought that company along with Cody and others to fruition, but do they deserve to be the Sting final match? Do you think that's going to be the final match because we still have a couple of months to go before that's locked in, or do you think this might be a setup to a Sting single match with somebody?
Revolution is the beginning of March.
Yeah.
So about 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. So they still have some time.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I definitely don't want to see that as Sting's final match. Yeah, March the 3rd. So,
Not Ric Flair.
No, definitely no. No. I definitely I don't want to see Sting in a singles match.
Really? Okay.
No, I don't. I think he's been doing a really good job with protecting himself. With doing Darby. Darby's doing a lot of the heavy work, and Sting is just doing spots nowadays and
jumping off balconies.
Yeah, jumping off of balconies, and so I mean, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I do see a tag match. It would be. I think it would. I think for Sting, it would just be in his crawl for the rest of his life if he has a singles match and he bombs it. Like I don't think that he would like it. I don't think that that's something that he would just be okay with go riding off to the sunset with the stinker of a match. Like if his
it depends who the opponent is, because like a time machine, we were talking about the ideal guy to put Sting over and give him a good match and protect him would probably be Chris Jericho.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Jericho, both Sting and Jericho are my top 5 all time, but Jericho's not as polished in the ring as he used to be. So I definitely wouldn't. And plus, Jericho's just. I mean, I think Jericho needs to step away for a little bit. Actually, I think that from a PR perspective, I think Jericho needs to step away for a while because I think that even if it was Sting versus Jericho, I think that all the fan reaction of him and the news and stuff like that, I think that would shroud him versus Sting, and I don't want Sting to have anything to do with that. So
what about this? This just went from here and it's stuck in the middle. What if Darby Allin says, I don't want us to do that? And Sting looks at Darby Allin and he says, well, why don't you do it? And then they now have Sting against Darby Allin.
I mean, now I've said that for months. I mean, that's what I thought it was going to be. I thought the last match was going to be Sting versus Darby, and Sting put Darby over. But at the same time, here's my problem with that. Darby Allin has not been properly pushed whatsoever, and I don't think he would if he beat Sting. So why would Sting confiscate losing against Darby Allin just for Darby Allin to go 50-50?
No, he doesn't lose to Darby Allin. Darby Allin does the coffin drop like he did this past week on AEW from a high spot somewhere. Sting moves out of the way. Crash, 1, 2, 3. Sting wins, picks him up, says, you're a great kid. This guy's going to be a world champion one day. They hug. Yay. Sting won his last match, and he's endorsed Darby Allin the best he could.
He can do that if he tagged with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see a tag match. I want to see.
I don't necessarily disagree with you saying that you don't want a tag match, but Sting's my all-time favorite wrestler, and so I don't want, like, I'm sure Sting more than me, doesn't want to see him go out in a stinker. I mean, like the Bound for Glory match between him and Hulk Hogan, and I've been following Sting since 1987, and the Bound for Glory match that he had with Hulk Hogan was probably the worst match I've ever seen Sting have. It was horrible. Now, if that was his last match, there's no way that he would have wanted to retire from that match. And so he's definitely kind of had a renaissance, run, in a sense. But Darby Allin can definitely protect Sting, and I understand why he would want to do a tag match. If it's up to me, it's Sting versus someone who can protect them, and Sting goes over. But we have to be real here. Sting in a singles match, just no. I don't see it. I don't see it being successful.
You don't want it to be a stinker.
I don't want to see it. I don't want it to be a stinker.
Yes,
right. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Do we have any questions before we have to get out of here?
I don't think we have. We just had one super chat. Yeah, a lot of people are agreeing with me on the
Yeah, I haven't looked at the chat tonight.
Oh no, it's all right. So yeah. You know who I would like? You know who I would like if Sting had a singles match. I got one person who I think would work in AEW currently. That would work.
Okay.
You know who that person is?
No.
Christian Cage.
Oh, I mentioned that also on Time Machine. I said that would be a great. He has got so much heat.
Yes.
Going on for him right now. He's a major.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's the major guy there. He's fabulous.
He's fantastic.
And the heat he could get for that match would just be absolutely freaking awesome.
I'd be game for that. I'd be game for that because Christian can definitely still go. I mean, he's still great in the ring. And if there's anybody who I feel Sting would feel comfortable with in a singles match that would accentuate his positives more than have him have to do a lot of work, it would be Christian Cage. Because the thing is with Taker and AJ Styles, Taker, he kept coming back because he was so disappointed in his matches. That Taker just kept coming back. He to my point, Taker was feeling the same way. He was like, man, Goldberg, stinker. You know what I mean? Like, man, Roman Reigns, stinker. You know what I mean? Like, he just kept coming back. And he didn't want to retire just with a stinker. You know what I mean? And I think the AJ match, he felt it. It felt good. He rested on it. And it would be great. And it would be cool. Like, to be honest with you, I wish that it was I wish that there were theater a part of it. I wish that Sting kind of brought some Scorpion back and the Crow, and it just wasn't just a regular match. You know what I mean? I don't want Sting to retire in a regular match either. I wish, I'd be totally fine if it was like theatrics a part of it, if it was outside the ring and all the bells and whistles and everything, accentuating Sting's positives, and Sting goes over, man. I'd be totally fine with that.
Listen, the boss man, Raju Dasgupta, has a question. He wants to know, do we foresee a surprise at the Rumble return for like Naomi? Yeah, I think so. I think that's where they're going with it.
I think that Naomi, I can see Naomi returns. Although I thought that Bound for Glory, not Bound for Glory, but Hard to Kill was going to be her last match because he dropped it to Jordan Grace. But she's got another match with Giselle Shaw coming up too. So she's actually competing outside of it. She's actually competing outside of the pay-per-view. But I still see, if there's a surprise, I can see her. For the man, I can see Andrade come back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Sting could hand the bat off to Darby at the end of the match. That's a great way to pass. Instead of passing the torch, he passes the bat.
Ooh, yeah.
Great comment.
That's the reason why I think it should be a
Michael Pessolano.
Yeah, I think Michael's a big
yeah, no, I'm staying with single match. I don't like the tag team match. If they do the tag team match,
I don't like it either. That's what I'm saying. I don't like it either. I'm just saying that it would be a stinker unless someone.
But it's not going to be. It's not going to be his final. If he does it in the tag team match, it's his final match for AEW. It's not going to be his final match. Maybe he's going to go to Australia with Conrad Thompson and his people. And it's part of the StarCast show, and wrestle a match there and make that his final match.
He said he's retiring at Revolution. He doesn't see.
Luther's retired 9 times. Terry Funk retired 24 times.
But he's not Luthez and Terry Funk. If Sting was born in March of 59. So he's a March baby. So this year he'll be 65 years old. Like Revolution is a few weeks is like 2.5 weeks before his birthday. So he's like nearly 65 years old at this point. Like Terry Funk retired between like 35 and 65. Is like he retired like 18 times. Sting retired once and then he unretired, and like he's like, no, I'm retired for real now. So I think that's all.
I don't know. I know Sting I know him personally. I've known him since day one, back when he was in the Bill Watts days, and he's one of the most honest people I've ever met. But in my opinion, it could even be a year down the line or 6 months down the line. If this is a tag team match, he'll get the pin on one of the Young Bucks. That's for sure. It'll be a glorious match. But I think that this is his retirement match, then maybe in tag teams. And he could say, I never said I was retired from single wrestling. I want one more match.
As a Sting fan, I will say, please, no, Sting. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Out there. I'm putting it out there.
Do it for the fans. Please, don't do it. Sting, no, stay home. No, stay home, Sting. Please, stay home. Let the listeners know where to find you, my brother.
Wait a minute. I'm so old that I remember when professional wrestling was amateur wrestling. No, I shot Abraham Lincoln's first wrestling match with my camera there. Nice. So you can find me at Apter One Wrestling on Twitter, and we are working very feverishly with the social media department at Sportskeeda to get our Twitter handles down here already in 2024.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, I give homework as a therapist and a college professor. I give homework. So your homework for the SK Nation is, first of all, like, share, subscribe if you haven't and you're watching this. Thank you for watching it. Be sure to comment in the comment section of this video. Respectfully, act like adults, and comment respectfully. Agree, disagree. That's not an issue either way. Totally fine. And so go ahead and put your comments on there. So your homework is, other than like, sharing, and subscribing, is who do you think Sting's last opponent should be, or opponents, we'll see, opponent or opponents should be for his final match at Revolution on March the 3rd.
So it's got to be an AEW talent.
So yeah, it's got to be. I mean, yeah, realistically, who in AEW do you think realistically will go against Sting?
By the way, my last comment on the Rhea Ripley thing about her forgetting her lines, the rest of that promo to me was so good, it just went past me. It didn't matter. People do that. Sure. That's it. Agree or disagree, it's okay. That's why we do this.
Absolutely. And I will say in return that if someone who was already struggling for promos, you can't do that. But I will say this though. Here's something to what's your appetite for next week. So of course we got to roll, but Dolph Ziggler returned Dolph Ziggler made his debut in Wrestle Kingdom, and yes, and then he also came to Hard to Kill. But this is something I was thinking of. I think that he was misused in New Japan, because he is feuding. It seems like he's about to feud against David Finlay. But I think that he should have been the newest leader of Bullet Club. I think that's where that would be a good idea. Or an opponent for Sting in AEW. Great. No. I don't think so. All right, this guy right here is Bill Apter. I'm Dr. Chris. This is UnSKripted. Have a good night, everybody. Solo.